Well, hello, fellow actors, and welcome back to Casting Actors Cast, the podcast for actors from a casting director who's seen just about everything, including this topic. Today's topic is called Getting Fired by Your Agent. What's next? And if that title made your stomach just drop a little bit, congratulations, you're human. You're also not alone. Let me start by saying something right up front, because I want to take this sting out of the subject immediately. Getting dropped by an agent is not a career ending event. In fact, and I know this sounds wild, for many actors, it turns out to be a career clarifying moment. Now, before you throw your cell phone across the room, stay with me, because today we're going to talk about why this happens, even to very good actors. We're going to talk about what not to do in the emotional aftermath. We're going to talk about how to regain your footing professionally and psychologically. And we're going to talk about something specific, actionable steps you can take that actually move you forward. Now, listen, this is not a rah-rah, everything happens for a reason episode, I promise. This is a practical, calm, grown-up conversation. The kind I would have wanted when I was starting out. All right, this is Casting Actors Cast.
Casting Actors Cast, what a show! With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
You've done more auditions than a casting director has said, thanks, we'll be in touch. It's time you got serious and learned acting strategies, audition secrets, and tips to grow. Get the Actor's Playbook for Getting Cast. Booked It by Jeffrey Dreisbach. Available right now. Also introducing Next Level Auditions, the online video course. Why not get both? Call it the Ultimate Audition Toolkit. You won't find these on sale because they're worth every penny. If you're serious about your acting career, this is your next step. This is your moment. Let's make it count. CastingActorsCast.com. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. I'm a casting director with McCorkle Casting in New York, and I just kind of realized that I should probably be introducing myself as Jeff Dreisbach because the first name Jeffrey is starting to get kind of a different kind of connotation to it, so it's not as popular as I was hoping it would be. So we're going to kind of just say, hi, I'm Jeff Dreisbach. I'm a casting director with McCorkle Casting in New York. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a really good day, and I'm excited about sharing this project with you. You know, I hear it more and more. Actors who are getting dropped by their agents. And it's always interesting to me to see how actors actually turn it around for themselves. And also, to be frank, how some actors don't really turn it around for themselves, how they end up feeling much more victimized by the situation. So we're going to really unpack this today. And if you haven't been let go from an agent, somebody that's representing you, then great. But you know what? I still believe this could be extremely valuable information you can use. But first, this is that moment of the conversation where I get to say thank you so much for tuning into Casting Actors Cast. It's been a pleasure bringing you over 400 episodes of Casting Actors Cast. And I love doing these podcasts, and you can help me out too. Of course, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, give me a review, a like, subscribe to the channel, but you could also go to the website, castingactorscast, all one word.com. And there you're going to find all kinds of cool stuff, information about the show. You're going to see Jeff's Jots, which are the show notes that correspond to each of the episodes. Additionally, there's a form that says dive into the talent pool. That's me collecting your name and your email address. I don't do anything with those, by the way, except maybe an occasional announcement about an upcoming episode, something like that. But I don't chew up your bandwidth. I don't kind of make it a habit, like perhaps some people think I should, to be, sending out notifications and stuff like that. I just don't have the time to do that. But if you do leave me that information for an occasional, a notification, then that's going to open up some freebies for you. One is a book that I wrote. This is absolutely free. It's a PDF. It's 100 pages. It's called Conversation Pieces Out of the Studio, the voiceover workshop for professional actors. It's a really decent workbook style of information on doing voiceover work, something I had the pleasure of doing for many, many years. Also, there's a free video called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. That's absolutely free just for giving me your email address. Plus, there's other things on the website. Obviously, I would love for you to take a look at my book. Also, of course, I would love for you to take a look at some of the other things that are available on the website. An entire course on auditioning. There's also a book, my most recent book called Booked It, The Actor's Playbook for Getting Cast. That's available also on audible.com as an audiobook. So yeah, I narrate my own audiobook. So you might find that pretty interesting as well. So please do me a favor, but also do yourself a favor by checking out the website. Now, a couple of final thank yous to my friends at Actors Connection. I continue to really love what Actors Connection is doing in New York with professionals in the business, actorsconnection.com/New York. And finally, my shout out to my good friends at the Broadway Podcast Network, who is sponsoring this podcast. It's been a really cool journey, and I hope that we can continue this ride for a long time to come. All right, let's jump into the subject now. So, first, we need to normalize this. Actors don't talk about getting fired by their agent. You know what? That just really doesn't happen, right? They talk about, the fact that they just signed with an agent. They talk about, I don't know, landing a big audition, booking something really shiny. But they don't talk about the email. That email that starts with, after careful consideration. You know what I'm talking about. Or maybe it's a phone call that never comes back. So I need to normalize this for you. There are various reasons that actors get dropped. And we need to take a look at that first. Actors get dropped because an agency chooses to restructure itself. That's one. Another, an agent, the agent that signed you, decides to leave. That's another. A department shifts focus. So entire strategies for agencies decide to make an adjustment. Here's another reason. The roster just simply gets too big for all of those reps to manage all of that talent. Here's another one. The industry contracts. There's maybe just not enough work for the actors on that roster. See, the actors' materials don't align right now sometimes. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say you failed, right? I didn't say you're not talented. I didn't say you don't belong, because those are emotional interpretations, not facts. But let me also say, I believe, from what I'm experiencing now as a casting director, that the agency situation is like popcorn in the microwave. Many agents are leaving. Many new agencies are opening up. Agencies are moving to another agent. Agencies are closing completely. It's just been recently really crazy, really crazy. And here's something you may not know from the outside. And this is the most important thing. Agencies are businesses first. See, they're not moral judgments. They're not emotional verdicts. Businesses. Sometimes you simply don't fit the current business model. I know that hurts. But let me say this, it doesn't define you. Second, the 72-hour rule. Now, let me give you one of the most important tools I can offer you today, and that is what I call the 72-hour rule. If you just happen to be dropped by an agency, give yourself 72 hours to feel it. Just 72 hours. I want you in those 72 hours to be mad, to be sad, to be confused. I want you to vent to one trusted person, not six, just one. And then, and this is crucial, do not let the story harden. Because what happens is this: on day one, you say, that was shocking. On day five, you say, what did I do wrong? On day 30, you say, this always happens to me. And then day 90, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Does that sound perhaps familiar? See, that story will quietly sabotage your next step. So here's your first call to action. Call to action number one. I want you to set a deadline on the pain. Put it in your calendar and write it like this: I'm allowed to be upset until, and then fill in a date. After that, we move into strategy. Third, what not to do. And please hear this. When actors get dropped, I often see them make one of those moves, all unpredictable, all unhelpful. And here are some of those mistakes. Number one, panic submissions. Sending your materials to everyone, like all agencies that ever existed, all casting directors you might have met or have worked with. And you do that immediately, sort of a knee-jerk reaction. You know what? I can only say it like this. Agents can smell panic. Managers can smell panic. And let me just tell you, casting can definitely smell panic. Here's another mistake that I have seen firsthand: immediate reinvention. You get dropped from your agent, you say, I guess I need new headshots, a new name, new look, new personality, blah, 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 blah. No. Pause. Take a breath. Mistake number three: disappearing, going silent for 6 months out of shame or confusion. Please let me just share this. Silence doesn't heal careers. Momentum does. Okay, somebody write that down. That was really good. Fourth, the honest self-inventory. Now, this is gold. Now, at this point, we do something powerful and calm. We take inventory, not judgment, not blame, inventory. Ask yourself and write this down. What auditions was I getting? What were those auditions about? What were the characters that I was being sent out to play, to audition with? What was I consistently called in for? So what auditions did I get auditions for? Ask yourself, where did I feel most confident? Then ask yourself, where did I feel lost? Were my materials actually doing the following for me? Were my materials actually doing the talking for me? Because, and here's a truth I see from the casting side, sometimes an agent drops an actor because they don't know how to pitch them clearly. Now, that's not an insult, I promise you. That's information. Call to action number two: write a one-sentence casting sentence. Yeah, one-sentence casting sentence, okay? I am an actor who is constantly called in for fill in the blank. Now, if that sentence feels kind of muddy to you, well, guess what? That's your work. Fifth, and this is a reset, not a rejection. Now, let me tell you something, something gently but directly. The actors who rebuild well after being dropped are the actors who stop trying to get back what they lost and start building what they actually need. That might mean sharper materials. That might mean more specific branding. How about a clearer casting lens? Or even a short term focus on craft and confidence? You see, your brand may be something to check out, to investigate. Now, this is not starting over. You understand? This is starting smarter. Now, moving on. Let's talk about practical steps, not fantasies. Step number one, update materials with purpose, not just new for news sake, right? Ask, do these headshots match who's booking right now? So, in other words, you're taking your pulse on what's happening in the industry, but you're also taking a look at how that is reflected in your headshot. Next, does my reel open strong? Everyone is sort of desperate to have a reel these days, and I understand the value of it. But let me just say, a reel isn't just throwing together little tiny clips of you in professional jobs. You must strategically place all of those beats and all of those moments that you've already booked, that you have, that's been booked and sent out over the air. You have to strategically place those so that you have a really strong opening, something that's going to capture my attention and draw me in. Moving on from there, does my resume tell a story? You see, if you just think your resume is just a list of jobs and who you worked with, you're making a mistake because it's so much more than that. I would love to have a resume in front of me that tells an entire story, where you're from, the kind of roles that you've been playing, the kind of work that defines you. And does that comport, ooh, good word, with what I am seeking as a casting director? All right. Step number two, build momentum without representation. See, actors seem to forget this all the time. Casting sees actors all the time without agents, right? I see actors all the time, and I bring in actors from the classes that I teach, from the workshops that I do. I watch short films. I go to readings. I take on referrals from agents or other casting people. See, momentum is visible, even without representation. Number three, reach out strategically when you do submit. This is a big one. Be targeted, be calm, be honest. You do not need to explain the breakup. Why? It happens all the time. You might feel that it is an emotional event in your life, but that has nothing to do with a role that I might have available that you might be right for. So that's why I want you to be strategic. That's why I want you to not necessarily share this news with the entire world. You simply need to show clarity. So here's my call to action number three. Create a 30-day momentum plan. Now, I think if you follow through with this suggestion, it's going to have a huge impact. One class of coaching focus. Just do that. I'm going to just take a new kind of class, one that I think might be of value to me. That's number one. One materials upgrade. Now, that could be reworking your resume, or you're doing your new pictures, or that could be a bio, that could be writing your one-person show. So whatever materials you're working on, You want an upgrade of those materials within that 30-day period. Moving on from there, one outreach action per week. You know what I'm saying? Small steps. In other words, a targeted approach to a new potential agent. Taking a class with a casting director who might have a suggestion about what agencies might be right for you. Those are the kind of things that you can do within a 1 month period of time, because you know what? Those are consistent steps. And it's just such an amazing thing that happens when you do that 30-day checklist, for lack of a better way to say it. All right, we're going to talk about the seventh portion of this, and we're going to talk about identity right after this. Welcome back. Now we're on our seventh step here. Let's talk about identity. This is kind of what I call the quiet part. Many actors unknowingly tie their worth to the following: I am represented, therefore I am valid. You understand that that's dangerous? Your talent didn't vanish with an email. Your experience didn't evaporate. Your voice didn't disappear. You have to understand, I think, that representation is simply a tool. It's not an identity. Really, think about that. And here's the irony. Actors who rebuild from self, actors who rebuild from trust, they often attract better representation the second time. I know that to be absolutely true. So think about that it's all about a shift in the paradigm. It is not an ending. It is not a conclusion. It is not a statement about who you are. It is simply the next step. It is simply the next step in a career. So here's my final thought, and I think that this matters. If you've been dropped by an agent, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are in transition. And transitions, while God knows are uncomfortable, they are often where clarity finally shows up. And so here's my call to action. Do these three things. 1, write your 1-sentence casting line. 2, choose one action that builds momentum, not panic. 3, speak about yourself like someone you'd want to represent. Let me say that again. Speak about yourself like someone you would want to represent. That's an interesting mind shift that I think makes a big difference, because casting isn't looking for perfection. We're looking for clarity. We're looking for confidence. And we're also looking for consistency. Hey, listen, thanks for spending time with me on this episode. I hope it helped you. If it did help you, please pass it along to another actor who might need it today. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. This is Casting Actors Cast, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.
From monologues to scripts.